Hey guys, I'm in kind of a ramble role today for making videos since I wasn't making videos while I was in California, except for that one in the California Light that I called MBA in the California Light. So I'm feeling a little love giddy today because of all the fun, great, wonderful things that have been happening with the $48 million MBA Club. All these generous contributions. I'm going to add them all up pretty soon and see how much money we have in the club together because it's our club. And I just love it how generous you guys are, that you are inspired by me and my ideas, and it makes me feel that we are all connected and we are one crazy big group of people who like MBA and love and philosophy and stuff. Stuck here on this planet, trying to figure out how to make it work, how to make it good, how to survive well, how to just deal with all of the complexities on this planet, which are vast and challenging, especially when it comes to matters of the heart. Well, when it comes to everything, our bodies, they age, they hurt, they get sick, they go through stuff, they have hormones, there's always something going on. And, okay, this is what I wanted to talk about, actually. I just can't believe I'm telling this story in this way. This is so weird because I don't know if anybody else has ever felt like they were just madly in love with somebody and never got the chance to tell them. Well, that's happened to me probably more than once. But the one time that I feel like it's important to talk about it now, crazily, all these years later. But, when I was like 20, I was madly in love with this guy. And, ridiculously so in love with him, painfully in love with him. Just thought he was the cutest guy I'd ever seen, and I just had this huge crush on him. But, of course, because I had such a big crush on him, and I have this very shy side of me that's like a awkward 14-year-old girl, I could never tell him how much I loved him. And it's like we were kind of crazy for each other, but we never told each other. And then one time we broke up, and I was probably better friends with his roommates, and I had a more easy time talking to his roommates than him. In a way, I was sort of more relaxed because I wasn't so madly in love with them. But I felt close to them, and I think one of them actually had a crush on me, and we had a nice rapport, but this guy, I just was so in love with him. And you know what? I don't think I ever told him that I loved him ever once. I never said it. I never wrote it. I never said it. And it's a lot of years later. I can't believe how we can be so shy here on this planet. And I'm not really shy anymore, but I am about some things. I'm painfully shy. Like the cute guy at the Y who I can barely talk to. And I still have that, obviously. So this is what happened. I was in love with this guy, and I seemed to be closer to his brother and his friends and his roommates than him. So I didn't fall out of love with him at all, but somehow we ended up breaking up. And I'll never forget that day we ended it, sort of, and it was painful because I was in pain the whole time because I never really could get it to feel good with him. One time he offered for me to move in with them, and I probably should have done it. I don't know why I didn't do it because I awkwardly, weirdly, and strangely shy away from love opportunities. I mean, I could have moved in there with him, and, I didn't for some reason. I don't know why. I think I ended up moving in with my brother instead. I didn't feel comfortable. I wasn't sure how he really felt about me. Anyway, this is a weird story, but I'm confessing it on here just in case somehow he hears this message. But, okay, after we broke up, and we lived in Rhode Island, I didn't want to be one of his many girlfriends. I didn't want to be one of the notches on the bedpost, I was really so in love with him. It was hard. It was painful. So, and he had, collected little mementos of all his relationships, which maybe one time when I was in his apartment or his house in his room by myself, I might have looked through those things because I was probably a snoop back then, or at least, I was so in love with him I couldn't help but go through his top drawer. And that's when I realized that, he kept little mementos of past relationships of girls that he loved. And I remember his brother telling me how much he loved this other girl, and I think I thought that he was always going to be hung up on this other girl and never really love me. So I never told him I loved him. I never said it because I didn't want to be the weak one, the one who was, pining away. I wasn't comfortable letting myself be vulnerable like that. It's taken me years to figure out how to be love vulnerable. I always have to be the one, I have to feel like I have more control over it. I don't want to be the one who's like the pathetic little one who's in love with you, and then you get to be mean to me, and I'm just like so in love with you. I have that thing going on still in me after all these years, and I can talk about it now. Maybe that's healing it, but okay. So after we broke up, I was probably at his house, and he probably left, and I was there alone, and I had, over the course of our relationship or our romance or whatever you wanted to call it, I would have left him different little notes on his bed saying things, and I didn't want to be one of his many girls, and I didn't want my notes to just be one of millions of girls' notes that other girls would eventually read, and I just didn't want to feel vulnerable like that, and I just wanted to get all my notes out of there because I thought I was hurt that we were breaking up, because he probably was more, the one pushing it. I probably acted like I thought it was a good idea too, but really I was ripped up inside. And so when I was in his room, I think I thought to myself, I don't want all my stuff here. I don't want any sign of me here anymore. I was hurt, and I just I thought maybe if I took all my things out of his room, that would help me energetically separate from him and get over him faster. So I took all my notes with me when I took all my stuff and left his room for what I felt was the last time, probably was the last time. And later on, I think maybe 3 weeks later, I ran into one of his roommates who told me that he had torn his room apart. And I remember being shocked by that, and I couldn't help, but he wouldn't tell me why he tore his room apart, and I kept asking, why did he tear his room apart? And he wouldn't say. I don't know if he didn't know. I feel like he knew, but he wouldn't tell me why. And I wondered if he did that because he later realized that he actually did care about me, or he wondered where my notes were. But I was so busy trying to convince myself that he actually didn't care about me because he broke up with me. And I don't know. Love, this whole romance game we play on this planet is very confusing and painful very often. Oh, almost every time. At some point, your relationship or your love for someone's going to bring you unhappiness, sadly. So let's change that with the $48 million club and the $48 million MBA and the 48 million orgasms. Anyway, so I wondered if he tore his room apart looking for all my love notes, which were not love notes. They were love notes, but they never said, I love you. They were my way of trying to let him know how much I cared about him without saying I love you, because I was too shy and scared to say I love you. God, I wish I hadn't been so shy, and I still am shy. I mean, I don't seem shy. I'm showing my boobs on the internet, but I am shy. Some people are weirdly shy and weirdly outgoing at the same time, and I'm one of those people. Some of my sub-personalities are very shy, and some of them are very bold and are totally out there, so I'm complicated. So I connected with his brother years later on Facebook, and I was close friends with his brother back then, and I asked about him, the one that I loved so deeply, and he wouldn't tell me what happened to him. And he used to do a lot of partying, a lot of drugs, and it's possible he messed himself up. I think one of the roommates messed himself up with ODing on something. I don't know what happened. Those guys were partying hard, and I didn't take all those drugs. I probably smoked some weed with them back then, and I've never been a drinker, So I didn't really mix drugs, and I've always been sensitive, so I've had to be careful with things that I put in my body. I'm very, very picky about what goes in. I've learned that I can't just abuse it. And I probably did a little bit of abusing. Back then I used to drink Tab, that godforsaken diet soda that ruins your body. I hate to tell you guys that love your diet soda, but diet soda is really bad for you. It's bad for people like me who are sensitive. So, you know, I'm confessing my secret crushes. One's on the cute guy at the Y, and this guy that I never told I loved him in 30 years. It's been 30 years. I'm finally telling him, and he probably isn't even, I don't know if he's, I don't know where he is. I don't know if his brain is in there. I don't know if he's okay. His brother wouldn't tell me what happened to him, which made me think that something bad happened to him. And I never have found out what happened to him. And I'm hoping something horrible didn't happen to him, because he was gorgeous, and I thought the world of him. I don't know. So if he's somehow alive still and he knows who he is, I just want him to know that I was madly in love with him back then, and I feel bad that I never told him. Oh, and this was another weird thing. In 1999, my brother Bobby died, and he was 39 years old. And when he died, you know, when a sibling dies, it's a great shock to the whole family. And I remember this overwhelming feeling of wanting to tell everybody that I had ever cared about how I really felt about them that I had never told. And this guy that I was madly in love with when I was 20, he was one of them. And I tried to look him up, and I think I found him. And I wanted to tell him, even though I think he might have been married, or I was worried he might have been married, or I was going to call him. I was going to leave him a message, or I was going to write him an email or something. I don't know if we had email back then, but I don't think we did. But anyway, I called him, and I got so nervous I hung up the phone and I didn't tell him. And then I remember thinking to myself, well, if he was married, then it's probably better that I don't tell him. Anyway, I had asked my sister. My sister had an experience where a guy never told her how he felt about her, and he ended up calling her up 15, 20 years later and telling her that he loved her, that he had loved her so much back then in high school or whatever. And I asked her how she felt about receiving that love message from someone that loved her in the past years later, and she said it made her feel good, and I remember this guy was super cute. So, I mean, I don't know. Does it matter when you tell somebody that you love them years later after you didn't tell them that you love them? I think it does matter, because then you at least put it to bed, or at least you felt like you followed through on the emotion that you told somebody. And I feel comfortable saying these things on a video to random people that I don't really know, more comfortable doing that than directly telling this person how much I was in love with them. Is that crazy? Probably. I mean, when I think about how how many years of shyness I've had that have stopped me from expressing myself to someone, I just can't get over it, really. So this is my weird way of now telling people who I'm too shy to tell how I feel about them, how I feel about them. So maybe this message is for those guys who follow me, and those guys who watch my vids, and those guys who join the club. A message about healing the shy, awkward feeling. You know, you guys are very forthcoming with your love for me. And maybe we feel free being loving with each other because we don't really know each other. And, you know, you put a face, I have a face to who I am for you guys. I don't know you guys. I know some of you, a handful of you have, you know, sent me a photo or videos. But most of you guys, I don't really even know what you look like. So, but it's easy to send you love anyway. And maybe all this love I have in me for all these different people that I never got to share, I'm able to share it. I just never told him, and I'm worried that something happened to him. And I hope he's alive, or I don't even know if it's a good thing to hope that for someone. I don't know. I want him to know how I felt. Maybe I have to reincarnate with him again and go through all of that. Ugh. When I'm young, I don't get over shyness very easily. Anyway, I'm trying to upload a video to this cute guy at the Y, and it's not uploading. And I find that if Vimeo has not had an easy time of uploading my videos right away, then they just don't get uploaded at all. So I don't know what to do here. I have a feeling this isn't working. I wonder if I should cancel it, because then I have all these videos on there that don't end up actually being on there, and I can't cancel them. What if I should cancel this? Should I cancel that? I'll redo this. So anyway, guys, that's all this rambling video is about. It's just about telling someone how you feel about them, that you're scared to tell how you feel about them. And I think it's better to go ahead and be vulnerable and be the embarrassed one and be the one not in power, because later in life you will feel grateful that you were brave enough to express yourself, even if your feelings are not reciprocated, you know? So, you know, I don't want to go to my grave feeling that I had work left undone. The psychic just told me, this young girl in California said that I was going to live till I was 88 years old, and I thought that 88 made sense because it's two infinity signs together. So that's, you know, 4 circles, 2 infinity signs. If you put the 2 infinity signs like this, you can make a circle around them, and you can just make all sorts of sacred geometrical shapes with the infinity sign. So 88 makes sense. Oh, and I saw a license plate yesterday, and the numbers on it were 4884, 4884. And it made me very happy to see that number, because those are obviously my numbers, 4s and 8s and 48. And when I saw that car, I thought, it's a sign. My kinfolk are close by. So that made me feel really good. All right, well, this is almost 18 minutes. And we like 8s because they are the infinity sign. So I guess I should end this video as it approaches 18 minutes. Thanks for watching, guys. This is just a little ramble about love and shyness and expressing your true feelings, even if it makes you feel vulnerable and awkward. I am the queen of awkward. Yesterday I was, you know, near the cute guy at the Y, and I felt very awkward, and I didn't like feeling awkward, but I felt like I needed to just spend some time around the energy field of him. So I did. Now I feel better. Anyway, love you guys. For those that like to listen to me ramble and talk about stuff, this is for you. And I'll make more NBA vids soon, but this one's just a friendshipy one. So, love ya. Big kiss. Thanks for watching.